Welcome back to Living Local. Ludwig van Beethoven was one of the most influential and significant composers of all time. The Quad City Symphony Orchestra is continuing to celebrate the 250th birthday of this revolutionary artist with Masterworks II, Beethoven Violin Concerto. Joining us in studio today, we have Mark Russell Smith. He's music director and conductor, as well as concertmaster Naha Greenholz with the Quad City Symphony Orchestra. Thank you two so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Thank you.
So first of all, this weekend, the Quad City Symphony Orchestra returns to the Adler Theater. Now, Mark, the last time that you were here, you were preparing for your first major indoor concert of the pandemic.
Right.
So how did Masterworks I go?
It went incredibly well. It was great. It was a real... I mean, actually, a thing that really touched me was even before the orchestra played a note, we came out and the audience gave us a standing ovation. I mean, just for being there and just for fighting through it and for taking all the precautions and just for providing them with live music. So it was we were all really touched even before the music happened. And then, I know Naha would agree, for the musicians and for us to play together after being apart for so long, and and to play works of Beethoven. I mean, it was just very moving on all sorts of levels, on a musical and artistic level, and audience level, and a community level. I mean, it was very special. So it went fantastically well.
It sounds like a powerful experience. I mean, obviously with a standing ovation before you even begin, doesn't that show you how much our community is craving live entertainment and the joy of music?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, there were, as we talked about last time, and we'll talk about later, I know, everybody followed the rules, and people are craving it, and people want to be together. And so, I mean, there were ways at that time for everybody to be together, and so it was very special to have that, to have that rapport with not only the musicians on stage, but also with the audience as well. So, yeah, the community, everybody wants it, and we just have to figure out how to do it and how to do it safely.
Absolutely. Now, for Masterworks I, you did have a live studio audience with certain safety protocols in place. Now, due to our current state of our local epidemic, the QCSO is presenting the concert without an audience for Masterworks II.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the digital concert experience?
Well, people can, I mean, there's a pretty low ticket price per household, and our concert will be filmed, and Naha's concerto and the Bartok Divertimento and all the repertoire will be filmed, and it's I think, a different experience. I mean, it's a very intimate experience because you're not sitting in the audience, but the cameras are around and catching all sorts of things that maybe you wouldn't see otherwise. But it's a concert. It's it's the same repertoire, and it's our same wonderful musicians, and it's I mean, obviously we'd rather have an audience there, but we can't. I mean, it's very clear that the numbers are what they are, and that you just can't have groups like that. It's just not safe. And so we, at the very, I wouldn't say the very last minute, but as the numbers were trending to what they are now, it became clear that we have to figure out another way. And so we're still providing great music and providing the experience as best we can. And so it's a different experience, but I think still a very rich experience.
Absolutely. Now, the largest work on the program is Beethoven's Violin Concerto. Now, Naha, both as a featured soloist and a member of the orchestra, what is it like to perform during this unusual time?
Well, the thing that first comes to mind is flexibility. I mean, in the last 20 years of performing, I mean, I can count on one hand, when a concert has been canceled or the circumstances changed. And so it's been just reframing everything as being more flexible and changing their perception about what's set. But, once we get on stage, it does feel familiar. It feels like home. And it is difficult to play with a mask. I mean, it takes away so many expressive options to not be able to use, your face. And also to have space between the performers is something that's taken getting used to. But I have to say that the energy in the hall when we get there it feels almost like more vital and alive than it would in a normal concert. And I really think that's because it reaffirms the ability of music to make a connection with yourself and with other people, and with the community in a way that goes beyond words. So
that was beautifully said.
I'm really grateful to be able to come here and do these concerts.
Right, with the restrictions and limitations that we're all facing right now, as artists, you guys have had to be creative, as you are as artists naturally, to find ways to pivot and adapt and still be able to provide this life-enhancing entertainment and value to our community in one way or another. We are so appreciative that you're still finding ways and also respecting the severity in the numbers right now, and making that tough decision to decide, okay, no live studio audience, but we're still going to move forward. And I would love to know more about the concerto that's going to be presented. What can you tell us?
Well, it's a really violin repertoire warhorse, and it's epic, it's symphonic in its sweep. It's in 3 movements, and the first movement is very, uses the whole orchestra very much, and the second movement is very heavenly, and there's this transcendent section in the middle where he uses the strings plucking pizzicato, and he kind of turns the orchestra into like a giant harp, which I think is a really magical moment, and it swings into a rustic and fiery third movement dance, and so it's an epic journey.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Beethoven, is first and foremost really an emotional composer, and so we really run the gamut here. I mean, like Naha said, the beautiful suspendedness. There's kind of earthy, folk music in the last movement, and just. It's Beethoven kind of in his prime, right in the middle of his composing career. So he really says everything, and gives the violin huge, obviously a huge voice, but also there are moments where the violin accompanies the orchestra. And it's very much a back and forth between the orchestra and the soloist.
The way you guys are describing this is so poetic, and I'm sure that the actual experience of the music it goes far beyond what words can ever express. So it sounds such like an enticing, powerful performance. How can folks gain digital access to this performance?
Well, I think the easiest way is qcso.org, our website. People who had tickets for the live performance, I think, have the option of, well, I know they have the option of going to the digital or to donate their tickets, which would be also welcome. Right. I think qcso.org, it'll be very, very clear and how you can get digital access. So.
Mark, Naha, thank you guys so much for being here.
A great pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
If you would like some more information, as Mark said, you can visit qcso.org. We'll also have those details posted on ourquadcities.com.